Okay,
Oh,
Assalamu alaikum everyone.
no, no, not yet.
Oh,
Okay, now start.
sorry about that. Yes, go ahead, Brother Ali.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Um, so I was just saying Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everybody. At least it's the morning for me here. Thank you all for coming. If you may, Brother Ali, start us with a dua and then I'll go ahead and start the topic.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. You can, if you don't mind, share your video. Radwa. You can start now.
Yes, sure. Okay.
You can share video if you like. If you like.
Yes, I will in a minute. Thank you. We will be reading from the words. Again, these discussions have been about the resurrection and hereafter. We're still reading the 10th word, and we are reading from page 109. I've shared my screen here. Let me know if you can't hear me at any point or you cannot see the screen. I'll be starting from the introduction right here. For today, I was thinking we can go through the first point together. So I will go ahead and start. Bismillah. This constitutes of 2 points comprising a concise explanation of one comprehensive result of the numerous spiritual benefits of belief in resurrection and of its vital consequences, a demonstration of how essential it is for human life and especially for the life of society, a summary of one universal proof out of numerous proofs of the tenet of belief in the resurrection, and the statement of how indubitable and self-evident is that tenet of belief. The first point, we shall indicate as a measure only 4 out of hundreds of proofs that belief in the hereafter is fundamental to the life of society and to man's personal life, and is basis of his happiness, prosperity, and achievement. So what we're about to read is an explanation of why is the hereafter important or fundamental to man's personal life. And it's a basis of his happiness and prosperity and achievement. So at this point, I would be asking myself, is hereafter or is believing in the hereafter important for me or not? The first, it is only with the thought of paradise that children who form almost a half of mankind can endure all the deaths around them, which appear to them to be grievous and frightening, and strengthen the morale of their weak and delicate beings. Through paradise, they find hope in their vulnerable spirits, prone to weeping, and may live happily. For example, with the thought of paradise, one may say, my little brother or friend has died and become a bird in paradise. He's flying around paradise and living more happily than us. The frequent deaths before their unhappy eyes of other children, like themselves or of grown-ups, will otherwise destroy all their resistance and morale, making their subtle faculties, like their spirits, hearts, and minds, weep in addition to their eyes. They will either decline utterly or become crazy, wretched animals. So it seems like that the author here is putting himself in a situation where like he's asking himself, well, if I'm a child and I'm witnessing the death of things around me, how will this experience affect me? And then he goes on, well, of course, if I'm a child and I'm witnessing death around me, my subtle faculties like my spirits, hearts, and minds will be affected very negatively, right? They will either decline utterly or I'm going to become a crazy, wretched animal. And I think the word animal here is representing how, you know, the spirits and hearts and minds will be sort of repressed or have to be denied in this instance. So instead, to sort of brighten up or to give this child some hope, you're going to tell him about the hereafter, that there is a paradise and anything you see dying here will be living happily. This way the child his spirits can be uplifted. He doesn't have to be utterly destroyed by this reality. Okay. Moving on to second proof. So to the author, this was a first proof. Yes.
Excuse me. Before going to the second proof, this is an interesting point, actually, the author is making. I found that it is very interesting because although the explanation for the necessity of resurrection is in this section that we read is very childish, saying that my brother died, my sister died, my grandma died, and they became now a bird in paradise. How childish is it? Yes, of course, we are speaking to a child. So it is fair enough within their capacity of imagination, correct? So how about how valuable it is, although it's not satisfactory, the reason is not satisfactory for any grown-ups, but for a child, because we are going to study apparently children, grown-ups, and societal level, or whatever, at different levels, we are going to study. We understand that. In order to appreciate the value of this approach, or value of belief in the resurrection for a child, for children in general, as the author says, half of the people living in this world are children. Maybe not nowadays, but we can understand. But let's say a third of it. Okay, thinking globally, not in terms of America or Western world. Okay, what is the alternative? If we don't believe in the hereafter, and my child is here, and grandma died, or one of the member of the family died. How can I explain it to the child? Which is very, very hard for the child to accept it. What happened? You know, where is my grandma now? Why do you put my grandma? I'm thinking of it at the level of a child. You put my grandma under the ground, and it's going to die there, or something will be harmful. That is what he thinks. If you say, "Oh, that is natural," what does it mean? As the text said it, it is excellent. Let me find out the. So all this disbelief in the hereafter will destroy all their resistance and morale, making their subtle faculties like their spirits, hearts, and minds weep in addition to their eyes. It means everything will be collapsed in the life of this child. But if you say, no, we are going to meet again, she just changed and God took him, because without believing in God, you cannot believe in resurrection. Correct? God took her because God loved her, took her, speaking to a child, and when we go there again, when we get older, God also will take us and we will reunite again, because that is our feeling. That's God created us with this need, and that is a promise from our God. So we will meet again. Don't worry about it. But for a person who doesn't believe in God and in the hereafter, it will really, any explanation this child will hear from their parents will destroy completely the life of this child. And it will really put them in the complete despair, and morally they will be collapsed. That is why that's how we can understand how valuable it is for a child to present the death, reality of death, within the context of resurrection, recreation, reuniting the family again. Thank you. That's what I wanted to share with you only.
Thank you. And I can just add that in the practical world, when a child loses an adult, this is exactly what is being told to him. Like even in children's storybooks or anything, you'll find that, okay, the person who just died moved to another place, because it's extremely difficult to tell a child any other reality, to tell the child that they're not going to meet this person again or anything like that. That would be very difficult to tell a child. The child will not get over it, basically. Yeah, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, go ahead.
Another observation from this passage is you'll notice that the author is saying this, I'm just restating it for clarity, that when the child uses his faculties that he has been given, imagination, we all know that children are masters at imagination. So when the child uses what she or he has already been given, then the child is connecting with everything that will bring its little heart ease, and is believing and is doing what it was, put here to do. And I find that to be symbolic for what we as adults should embrace more, which is that we have the faculties inside of us to that when used properly bring us the ease that we're looking for, and through that, the belief, the confirmation. And so, it is a reminder for us all. These little children teach us, and we also can access our childlike selves, and remember how we felt, the reassurance by, and whenever we lost a pet or a family member, by using what was given to us at the time, which was imagination. And now that we're adults and we have reason, it's an opportunity to feel the ease with everything we have now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we can go to the second proof. It is only through the life of the hereafter that the elderly, whom form half of mankind, can endure the proximity of the grave and be consoled at the thought that their lives, to which they are firmly attached, will soon be extinguished and their fine worlds come to an end. Okay, so now we're moving to talk about the elderly, and how the older you get, you can easily conceptualize that things are coming closer to an end. And however, you are attached to the life that you're having now. So now the author seems to be in question, well, what do you do in this situation? If you know that things are going to end, but you're attached to everything around you. It is only at the hope of eternal life that they can respond to the grievous despair they feel in their emotional, childlike spirits at the thought of death. Okay, so here he's saying, okay, well, when they think of death, how are they going to sort of reassure themselves? Or how are they going to bring ease and tranquility to their hearts, knowing that death is soon? He's saying, no, well, there is hope. There is hope of eternal life. And this would be the only hope that they have compared to their grievous despair. These worthy, anxious fathers and mothers, so deserving of compassion and in need of tranquility and peace of mind, will otherwise feel a terrible spiritual turmoil and distress in their hearts. And this world will become a dark prison for them, and life even grievous torment. So this person who's attached so much to life, who's like thinking of death or how close death is becoming to him or her, now has two options: either to be hopeful of eternal life, or life will become a dark prison for him. As a reminder, these proofs are trying to answer the question, why is believing in the hereafter important for man or for human? So the author here is kind of telling us, well, if you don't, then you're confronted with spiritual turmoil and distress in your heart and turning this life into a dark prison, because the reality of death is inescapable. Yeah. Anyone else want to point out anything in this paragraph? Go ahead, Brother Adi.
While I was listening to you and looking at the text at the same time, it came to my mind as if these are made up stories in order to sugarcoat the reality of death. It means wishful thinking. I mean, we imagine something in this world that if I was rich, I would buy this and that, and if I was in California, I would get a big mansion and lots of things. And that is a wishful thinking. This is not a reality. But is it the case? As far as our wishful thinkings within the conditions of this world are all possible things. Within the conditions of this world, our wishful thinking, whatever we imagine within the conditions of this creation is possible, but we may not be able to do that now, but it is possible. But as far as our, if you like, feelings which goes into wishful thinking beyond the capacity of this universe, such as the subject we are studying, resurrection. It means we are given such feelings, capacity, that we, for example, want to fly over the galaxies and have a never-ending life. What does it mean? I have the ability to imagine this. It means this ability is given to me. So whoever or whatever has created me must provide a means of satisfaction for it. Otherwise, I have this feeling within the conditions of this world. Excuse me. Let's imagine in this way. I am the product of this universe. It means accidentally happened and natural being. Okay. I have some qualities within me, some feelings within me, which goes beyond the capacity of the universe. How can you explain the existence of this quality? What is the source of existence of this quality within myself, in my feelings? When we notice that all our feelings cannot be the product of this universe, because their level of existence, their existence reality is completely different from the level of this existence of the universe. The source of existence of our sources cannot be caused by anything of this universe, because they have completely different nature of existence. Feelings are completely different nature of existence. Yes, the people nowadays try to claim actually, that our memory, our thinking capacity is related to our brain. Of course, that's how we are created. And without the brain, I cannot think. Without eyes, I cannot see. But it doesn't mean that my spirit doesn't want to see, doesn't want to remember. For example, reaching this age, thank God, I more frequently forget than I used to. But I am really I have the feeling that if only I should not forget. Although my memory is weakened, like my eyes have been weakened as well. So I am using some other tools now because my spirit still wants to see perfectly. My spirit still wants to remember everything perfectly. That is how I am. My spirit, the nature of existence of my spirit is completely different from the nature of existence of my body. Although my body is a tool in order to operate it, but my spirit has an independent existence, and its existence has completely different nature of existence. We should pay attention to this point. Whoever gave existence to me, he gave my existence in the form of body at a different level of existence, and my feelings at completely different nature of existence. It's a different level of existence. What does it mean? The one who gave me existence must be the one who provided these feelings, which has the capacity to imagine, which has the capacity to feel the need for something beyond the capacity of this universe. That is what I have to understand. Something, this ability which is given to me, wants and is in need of something which is beyond the capacity of the universe. So it means the one who gave my existence must be doing something purposefully, because my existence cannot be really consisted of only the nature of this universe. I am completely different from the nature of the universe. I am a human being. My consciousness, I don't see any consciousness, source of consciousness within matter itself. Matter is dumb, nothing. It has no quality other than how it is created. That's it. It has to obey the order of the universe, and it doesn't have any free choice, so that it will produce something ridiculous. So I cannot attribute my existence to it. That is why we should not say that these are wishful thinkings. For example, a man who is getting old, of course, when you tell him, and getting closer to the grave, when you tell him, don't worry. Why? You are going to be resurrected again. You are going to be given another life again. And he relaxes. If he's convinced about it, he relaxes. He feels comfortable. We say, you see, it is a cheating. How do you know? That is human nature. It is how I am created. I am created with the need of reunification of my existence, recovering my existence. I am desperately in need of it. It is not a job. It is my reality. No one wants to die. No one wants to lose his happiness. All these common feelings have nothing to do with matter. It must be deliberately provided by the one who gave us this capacity of existence. And within this capacity of the existence, I am desperately in need of the resurrection, eternal bliss, eternal happiness. And also, I am desperately in need of eternal punishment. Why? Otherwise, I cannot stop my egoistic desires. I must be watchful. For example, let's assume in New York, there is no police. Can you imagine the life at night? Come on, those people who live in New York. What will happen to children? They will exploit it. What will happen to elderly? They will rob them off. It is human beings. We can do everything in the right, everything in the wrong. There is no end for human capacity. So for some people, they don't really satisfy their ego if they don't really restrain themselves with anything. They want all the world under their feet. That is human nature. If you don't watch out yourself, you want to oppress everyone under your ruling or command or slavery. Everyone has this infinite capacity. Not everyone practices it, but this is possible. That is why without not only loving the universe, loving the creator, loving other people, but at the same time, if you harm other people, you will be punished. That's why every country, every state has its own police system, its own justice system, court system, prison, or whatever the punishment they apply for the ones who cannot really stop their egoistic caprices. That is why I need paradise in order to be hopeful. At the same time, I need hell in order to be fearful of following my endless caprices. So I have to say, I have to stop here, because if I continue in this way, definitely my creator gave me the sense of fear. This fear reminds me that if I do this, wrong things, harm others, harm other beings or other creatures, if I go against my nature, which advises me always to choose the good options, then I must be threatened with the punishment. Otherwise, no one can stop my caprices. Look at the world, Stalin and Hitler, Mussolini. What did they did? Millions of people they killed, millions of them with no fear. Even nowadays, what is happening in the world? So really, it is not a sugar coating. It is exactly matching to human nature. That is how we are created. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As you were speaking, I was also thinking about how yes, it is, he's sort of putting us in a situation. But part of the situation is to, if someone is actually thinking of death, I think if you're not aspiring to believe in the hereafter, the normal reaction or the usual reaction would be to avoid the thought of it. So it's sort of like running away. Let's not talk about it. Let's not think about it. And let's just distract ourselves in other things. So the situation here is also particular to someone who cares to make sense of the feelings of wanting a hereafter or desiring a hereafter or even needing a hereafter. And there was a comment shared saying feelings become proof when we observe them and confirm that they are created, given, purposeful, and are signs of corrective guidance. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. If I could just elaborate on the corrective guidance part,
Please.
and then also actually before that to say that I agree with what Brother Ali said. I've had this discussion myself and like on campus religion, debates, and it is often proposed from the atheistic side that you are just running away to religion to cover up the fact that you are frightened of death and it makes you feel better. And if I'm not careful, I will actually absorb that message and take it with me, and go along with a weak sort of belief that's very prone to imitation that just says, oh, maybe it is true. Maybe I'm just covering up the fact that I am so afraid of death. And that's why I'm believing in God, because it makes me feel better. And but I don't really want to talk about that, but I don't know what to do with my feelings. And even that feeling that makes me worried that I'm just covering up the truth by running to religion. And it goes into this cycle where there is, I'm totally lost with my insides and what they're telling me. If a process, on the other side, if a process is taken where we confirm that this outside world is dependent on something, it is interconnected, it is entirely sophisticated, there must be a creator. Then we move from the external world into the internal world. And we are in all of this is with, when we're so blessed to read what message we're getting in the Quran, and it's teaching us to also take a look at the inside world and ask, was it our creation? Once we get to a point where we confirm that the feelings are created, then they become, that whole debate with the atheist who said, I'm just running away to religion, becomes impossible, and it's very easy to see the falsehood in it. And then, especially what's so important is that the feeling of ease is guidance. It is the order that was given to show us where the guidance is when we feel the ease. And on the other side, when our conscience is screaming at us, or when our feelings are screaming at us, saying that, look at me, there is something that is wrong here, and please listen to me, or and you feel the upset inside, and you're wondering if life is meaningless, and then that makes you feel just awful. That awful feeling is guidance. It is guidance saying, come back and question, why do you feel awful when life is meaningless? What do those two have to do together? And where did you get the feeling of awful? And why does it even bother you if life is meaningless, if you're just matter anyway? And why does it bother everyone if life is meaningless, if you're just matter anyway? What's the likelihood that 6 billion people all hate it when life is meaningless, if there's nothing purposeful in that feeling? And so the corrective guidance is in the faculties that we've been given, our conscience, that tells us with ease, you are being guided. And the things that bring ease are when you realize that you have someone to depend on, that you're being taken care of, that this isn't all going to go into meaningless, that this is, a return to where you belong, and that those other feelings, when they arrive, are okay. They're bringing messages that help us learn and develop. And so I just think that this new reframing with this new relationship with feelings, and this confirmation, reasoning until feelings become important, is so important. this emotional intelligence is critically important. And that's why it's a proof, not just wishful thinking.
Thank you. Go ahead, Brother Adi. I see you raised your hand.
Now I am excited with this explanations by the Shahrani family as well. Since we started the subject, which will be related to all the sections to come, actually, because the following sections will be just responding to human feelings at the personal level, at the societal level, etc. So we won't refer it again, but since we have covered this subject now, let's, I said, I must share this one as well. Let's assume within the conditions of this world that we have never seen any food. No, we haven't seen any food, but I started feeling hungry. If someone comes to me and says, look, something will come out of this earth, dirt, and it will grow into a form of some strange things, which is called, we call now them plant, yeah? And then wait a little bit, then you will see some things that will satisfy fruit or vegetable, whatever, or any kind of harvest, which will satisfy your hunger. Now, we haven't experienced before. Isn't that wishful thinking? We will come out of earth something, and it will be delicious, and I will really enjoy it, and I will satisfy myself. Isn't that wishful thinking, seemingly? Because we haven't experienced that, we can understand that it looks like a wishful thinking. Since we experienced it, we say, oh, no, we know, yeah, within the conditions of this world, then the plant grows, animals eat, and we are benefiting from their productions. Because we have observed it, but who or what organized this world in such a way that out of earth, out of this damp matter, will be grown plants, animals, and we will eat them and satisfy our need of hunger. Now we practically experience it in our life, and it seems to be magical, miraculous, because we experienced it. For example, if I have never seen how a plant grow, nowadays new generations are like this, they are just fed out of boxes or packages. Now, if someone shows me a small seed, very small seed, let's say fig tree seed, but I've never seen it. I've never seen any plant. Let's say, assume, if someone tells me, would you like to have a fruit describing the fig exactly? Yeah. The taste, the color, and the shape, everything, this seasonal growing and getting, sometimes when you dry the figs, it becomes so sweet. Describe. And then comes to me and tells me that, look, you know, would you like to have something like that? I would say, yes, I would love it. And I need this sweet and tasty smell, etc. And I come to this person with a small seed tree, sorry, fig tree seed. And I will say, hey, sir, you know what? Out of this small thing, the box here, small box, what you need will come out. What? Wishful thinking, well, are you joking? Yeah, please, don't kid me. Do you understand? How the creation of this world is organized in such a miraculous way that every single thing in this world is coming into existence in a miraculous way. Let's assume that a sperm, human sperm or egg, mother's egg, if someone says a human being, described to human being, intelligence, etc., all the human qualities, out of this cell, this human will come. This quality of being will occur on earth. It is impossible to believe. Because of this extremely important familiarity, we don't appreciate the miraculous way of creation. Familiarity is, if we are not careful about it, it is our enemy to realize the reality. But if we are careful about it, familiarity makes our life so easy. We know what to do. We are familiar with this. So it has a double-edged sword, actually, familiarity. If we are not careful about it, you deny the miraculous act of creation. If you are aware of it, you benefit from familiarity and always be thankful for the Creator who created us with the ability to become familiar with his creation. That is, this world is perfectly arranged to match the human needs. So whoever created the universe must be the conscious creator of human beings, and otherwise, whoever created the human beings must be the creator of this wonderful, miraculous creation of the universe. There is no other way to explain it in order to satisfy my intelligence. Impossible. Thank you very much. I'm excited with the explanation that Shahrani family also contributed. We should not say that these are the simple explanations of the benefit of belief in the hereafter. Seems to be so simple for a child, for an old man, as if just cheating them away. It sounds, no, the reality of the universe proves it. Reality of our existence proves that these are our reality. Thank you very much. I'm very convinced now with this conversation, alhamdulillah.
So is the hunger analogy similar to the my need of hereafter? So just like the relationship between hunger and then witnessing the creation of food, then it's very easy to say, well, if I have a need for hereafter, then there must be a hereafter, or there is a creation of a hereafter happening.
Even if I say, look, imaginary seems to be imaginary wishful thinking. If I say I would like to have an a transportation tool so that I can travel through the universe, galaxies, etc. Yeah, that's my reality. Yeah, it may not be possible for me now, but as long as this sense is given to me, look at the description of paradise in the Quran. Exactly matching all my expectations. Whatever the Quran said, whatever I gave you the need for satisfaction, whatever I desire, mimma yashtahun, whatever you say, if only I had this, will be given. That is a promise from your creator. Although within these conditions of this universe, it is not possible because I created it, and then I gave you the ability to reason so that you will put your trust in me, and then I will reward you for your honesty. Because we have to be honest to our desires. If I want a perfect life, eternally perfect life, I say, the one who gave me this desire, this need, must be promising me that he will do it. And since he is able to create hunger, why not to create food for the satisfaction of the hunger? That is quite human logic. But if someone says, I'm not going to believe in God, nature happens by itself, it is definitely a wishful thinking, cheating, sugarcoating. But because it doesn't believe in the creator, it says nature itself. Yeah, of course, nature cannot satisfy my desires because nature is not the source of my existence. Nature cannot be the source of my feelings. You understand the contradiction, because they say, because if a person doesn't believe in God, he has to say, he's bound to say that this is a wishful thinking. Yes. Why? Because you don't accept the reality of this world. What this world is witnessing to, what this world is telling you to. You turn all the miraculous creations into accidental happening. I would say, you idiot, you have to suffer for it, for your obstinacy not to accept the reality. That is why they deserve hell, because they are contradicting their reality in an obstinate way. Sorry, I'm a bit angry with them now. As I am happy with believers, I am angry with deniers now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think we still have time to read one more proof, inshallah. So the third proof, I think we kind of touched upon it I think Brother Ali touched upon it during his explanation. So let's go ahead and see it. Sorry, there's something in the chat. Let me read it before I move on. Oh, you're taking notes. Thank you very much. Okay. Did you want me to read these notes, or are you going to keep them for later?
You can read it.
You can read it. Okay. All right. So the notes are: familiarity is a double-edged sword. If you're not careful, you fail to see the miraculousness and are cut by it. If you're not careful, you fail to see the miraculousness and are cut by it. If you are careful, you witness both the miraculousness of everyday life and see that it has attributes and occurrences that are proof for your intellect to feel satisfied that there must be a creator and there must be an afterlife. The sword fulfills its purpose with awareness of both sides. The sword, as in familiarity, it fulfills its purpose with awareness of both sides. Okay.
We have to thank Shahrani from.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Family, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the summary.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Since we only have 2 minutes, I'm guessing let's not start the third proof because it is an interesting one. And I think we can end here. If anybody wants to say any last comments or last questions.
I think we touched upon it. We can read it.
We did actually, yes, we did touch upon it. Okay, let's read it then. Okay. Third proof. It is only the thought of hellfire that checks the turbulent emotions of youths, the most vigorous element in the life of society, and their violent excesses, restraining them from aggression, oppression, and destruction, and ensuring that the life of society continues tranquilly. If not for fear of hell, in accordance with the rule might is right, in pursuing their desires, those drunken youths would turn the world of the wretched, weak, and powerless into hell, and elevated humanity into base animality. So just like what Brother Ali was saying earlier, basically, I have the capacity for aggression, oppression, and destruction, and I have plenty of desires that if I choose to pursue them, then I will, it will result in a catastrophe, of course. But then the question here that the author is sort of asking, well, what will stop me from doing all these? Why not pursue all these desires? He's suggesting, well, it's the fear of hellfire. You don't want to be punished, or you would never like to be punished, and you wouldn't enjoy eternal, an eternal torture or torment, we can say. Hence, you will choose not to pursue these desires. Yeah, so for him, that's a proof of the hereafter. For me, I think the existence of the hellfire has a lot of other meanings. And to say that the fear of hell can stop me from pursuing my desires, again, that is someone who's very awake to feelings of fear and to their desires. So it's sort of like someone who's saying, I know I have the desire to do evil, and I understand that I don't want any consequences. Therefore, I will choose not to pursue these desires. So for me, he's illustrating someone who's actually very conscious or very aware of himself, and therefore using the existence of hellfire to not pursue their evil desires. Yeah, that's all that's it for me. Any comments or observations on this third proof? How do you guys see it as proof for the hereafter? Okay. I see that no one has something to add. I think we can close here then. Unless Brother Adi, you want to add something?
Time is up. Time is up. Thank you. And we covered this, and you read it beautifully. Thank you very much. Let's stop here, inshallah, for today. And we will continue from the fourth, inshallah, fourth proof next week. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة.